Wanted to go through, and we can just kind of talk about where you would kind of score those. And what matters when you're going through this is not necessarily that your score is higher or lower than, you know, your other judges on the panel, but that you're being consistent to yourself. So, and what I mean by that is that for all three groups that you're seeing, in the case of middle school, all three groups, that you're applying the same kind of level or standard to how you're doing it. So, so you really wouldn't be asking your other judges, hey, you know, structure and rationale, what did you give them for that? You would just do the best that you could and take a guess at it, and then from that point forward, just make sure that you're being true to that initial kind of scoring that you went through on the first team that you saw. We'll also ask you to hold the score from the first team that you judge, so that if you need to go back after you see the second one, and you know, dramatically change, it's like, whoa, I thought the first team was good, but the second team was like, just blew them away. We'll give you that kind of capability so you can compare and contrast, and then we'll turn them both in, okay? So what are your thoughts on the relevance and complexity of the chosen topic? Somebody give me a thought on where we won't go for the guys that actually scored that one.
Like I remember what. Cultural inclusion.
Cultural inclusion. Now, you know, let me reframe where the overall theme last year, the ones that they put that under were human rights and human migration. So, you know, when we're thinking more in terms of global human rights and human migration, you know, that's where we may have framed it. They kind of turned that around a little bit, and I thought it was very creative in the way that they did it. But that's what the title would be. So any thoughts on what somebody would have just spit a score out there at me? Come on, relevance, complexity. What do you got?
10.
10? That's what I would. That's kind of what I want. Especially on the first team, you don't really know if they're off the charts brilliant or you know they're laggards, so to speak. So you know, 10 you can go you know, up or down depending on your own parameter. For
you can go in between too, right? You can do it 11, or you only want us to do even?
Yeah, I like the 9 and 11s, but the problem is that
so you want evens.
Yeah, it gets
that's fine.
It gets hard from an addition point of view.
Just that.
Yeah, and it's a very good question because you know if you get off into 9.73,
well, I wouldn't do that. I don't like to follow it.
Yeah, I don't like to hear about fractions, so this is hard for me. The structure and the rationale. What did you guys think about that? Was the argument kind of pretty strong that they were making about that cultural inclusion in their school? So what number would you guys give it?
Maybe 8 or so. I thought sometimes it was hard. It was sort of jumping around.
Yeah, part of that might have been the AV.
Yeah,
too.
AV was.
Tell actually what they were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Was that just tough time hearing or just their argument?
I think it was
Their argument, okay.
Actually, that's actually my topic, and I actually did a pretty good job of pulling together what cultural competency was and talking about stereotypes. They didn't use that to talk about cultural competency at that level. I think was pretty impressive. Yeah, they didn't really define it, but overall, in terms of explaining it, their content was pretty good. But I would probably give them an 8 also. Just the overall, you know, the rationale that they had. It was good though.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that 8's not good. And I was actually, of course, I love that stuff, so I like listening to it if I can hear it.
Yeah, not all of it. But you know, the point in talking about that is, you know, 8 is not necessarily the right answer, and 10 is the wrong answer, or anything like that. It's just, you know, that's the role you play. And if you feel that they presented whatever it was in a fairly rational way, it's wrong.
I think part of it too is comparing it to the other groups.
Yeah, I have to see the second one.
It's hard. That's
I
really
thought this
tough.
group blew away all the other groups that we had. I mean, some of them had everything.
Do you remember
practice.
where it fell in when you? I mean, was it first or towards the end of what you scored?
It was in the middle.
In the middle.
It was right in the middle. On either side.
On either side. Okay. How about solutions? Do you think that they presented the various solutions? What would you do? 18, somewhere around there?
I mean, they actually did some.
They brought it to their own.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, that was huge. And just so you guys know, I mean, that's the kind of the first time that I've seen that they actually went out and did something and then incorporated it into what they were actually presenting. So they really did it in a different kind of out-of-the-box way, which I thought was very effective. And not only did they pro-offer a number of good solutions, but they already had taken a lot of steps towards implementing them, which was, I thought, very strong. How about the creativity and the overall kind of the originality of setting up the walls and the barriers and using some
And the t-shirts at the end with the hand.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, to me, 10, 12, somewhere in there, depending on what else you've seen and how comfortable you are with that. Presentation, well rehearsed, everybody? Yeah, I mean, I can think of one guy that kind of trips over his words a little bit when he's got the graphs up on the screen. But some, you know, excellent editing and the video as well. They certainly all memorized,
Yeah.
so you know, 6, 7 there. And I thought their enunciation was real solid. So that's all we're asking is that you would go through and, you know, circle, like, so at the end when you're done is kind of 12, 10, 18, 10, 12, 6, 7, something like that. You know, those numbers are just examples. If you're really feeling strong mathematically that day, you can add up those 3 different numbers you circled and put it off to the right, or that 1 for the section. That second section's pretty tough. But we have found errors, so if you're feeling a little bit nervous. So, so that's really all from a procedure point of view that you kind of are responsible for.